It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the New York Yankees bullpen catcher, Aaron Barnett. How are you doing today?
I'm good today, Brandon. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about your time in the professional baseball and how you knew that you wanted to play?
Yeah, sure. So I actually never played professional baseball. I played up through college ball, and I started working in finance after college, and I enjoyed the job and the people I worked with, but I still had a longing for baseball. So about a year and a half or so out of college, I decided to leave that job and try to work in professional baseball. So I reached out to some of the contacts I had and was able to get an interview with the Seattle Mariners in their player development internship role, which is basically a minor league internship that reports to a few of the people in the minors who are above that spot, and was fortunate enough to get it and had a phenomenal experience with Seattle, worked with some great people, really enjoyed my time there and learned a ton. And that has sort of, transitioned now to where I'm with the Yankees, and again with great people and learning every day. So really enjoyed being in pro ball and glad I made that switch.
What was your time like in college playing for Pepperdine University?
I was good. I really enjoyed Pepperdine. We had a really good team my freshman year. I think that definitely set the tone for me in college and allowed me to really enjoy myself those 4 years there. We played in a super regional that year. Unfortunately, lost to TCU the game before Omaha. But yeah, had a heck of a time that year and met some great people, some of my best friends for life from that team and future teams there. So we were fortunate enough to have a pretty strong team sophomore and junior year, not so much my senior year, but we had 3 years of good baseball. And then the school was great. I really liked my professors, a lot of the other people that we hung out with and spent time with outside the team. So yeah, overall, really good experience.
During your time at Pepperdine, was there any point that professional teams were looking at you and planning on drafting you?
Yeah, I had some interest after my junior year at Pepperdine, and I had made it pretty clear that unless I was selected at a certain round and amount of money, I would decide to continue on with college. School is very important to me. Didn't receive an offer at the round or the amount of money that I was looking for, and so went back for my senior year at Pepperdine, and I actually hurt my elbow in the fall, sustained a ulnar collateral ligament tear, which is the reconstruction of that is what you'd know colloquially as Tommy John. So just hit my senior year at Pepperdine, did not play defense, and was not drafted afterward, which led to me taking a job in the finance world.
Before you broke your Tommy John, before you had Tommy John surgery, my bad, what teams were looking at you to draft you?
I don't want to get too far into the specifics, and then looking back at all that stuff, but there were a few teams, just scouts that had come to our games at Pepperdine and watched me play and whatnot. And so, yeah, it was a time in my life. It was exciting, but at the same time, like I said, I'd set my sights pretty clear on going back to school unless I got certain opportunity and wasn't able to get that. So I went back.
What was your time working as doing an internship for the Seattle Mariners?
That was a lot of fun. Just a terrific experience. The people I worked with were great. The extremely forward thinking, extremely open, and went about things the right way and showed me the ropes and were fantastic teachers. I still keep in touch with a lot of them. I compete in a fantasy football league with some of them. So it was a great time there, and very thankful for the memories and the friendships and the knowledge that I gained being a part of that organization.
How has the internship with the Seattle Mariners helped you into where you are now?
It helped a ton. specifically with some of the technology that the Mariners were implementing, certain devices like Pac-Man and Rapsodo and hydroponic cameras, things like that measure performance on the field, whether that be spin for a pitcher, velocity, on different pitches and movement profiles and all these kinds of things. And then on the hitting side, exit velocities and acceleration of the hips and all these different things. My job with the Mariners was not coaching those things, but it was using those devices to help capture those things. And in doing that, we had some great coaches there, and I got to discuss with them what they were looking for, why they were looking for it. And so that helped me tremendously for, my job with the Yankees, where one of the things they're looking for is somebody who had familiarity with those technologies.
What was it like getting drafted and signed in 2019 with the Yankees?
Actually, never got drafted or signed by the Yankees. Again, didn't play professional baseball, so got connected to the Yankees through the staff side of things, not the play side.
What is it like working as a staff for the Yankees?
It's great. Just like I said, I mean, the people are awesome. The team's obviously extremely talented, and the guys, they treat me super well. It's a really good environment, really good culture, so not a bad thing to say about it.
What is a typical game day like as the bullpen catcher for the Yankees before COVID?
So before COVID, I'd only spent like a month with the team. I actually got signed the year that COVID became a thing. And so I spent a little time in spring training before COVID, I guess. And spring training is pretty busy. You get there early in the morning, around 6 or so, work out, meetings, and then you have breakfast and shower, and meetings start around 8 a.m. Around 9, you'll get out to the field and start helping out with throwing programs or batting practice, whatever's going on out there. And then you have bullpens and things going on until probably noon or 1 o'clock. And then you'd have a game. And then if it were a night game, you'd take that whole schedule and just push it back.
What is it like a typical game day after and during COVID?
It's different now for sure. We have a lot of testing pretty much every other day with saliva tests. We have masks, we have hand sanitizer everywhere. We have restrictions on how many people can be in certain rooms, what we can do away from the field. So it's definitely different. But I'm still enjoying the heck out of it. I love the people I work with and having a great time being with the team. So definitely not complaining, just, looking forward to a time where we can relax some of those restrictions for sure.
What is it like wearing the pinstripe Yankees uniform?
It's really cool. Actually, don't personally have a jersey, but I just wear the pullover jacket and the pants. But yeah, it's really special. Obviously, there's a rich history with the Yankees, and they've had supremely talented players for more than 100 years, and some of the most legendary names in the game. Some of the best players in today's game. It's really cool. It's kind of like, I can't believe I'm a part of it sometimes. I feel very fortunate, and it's certainly an honor and something that you have to respect. And I'm hoping to do my best to do that. But yeah, it's been really surreal.
What is it like working with players like Gary Sanchez, Aaron Judge, and of course Gary Cole?
Yeah, it's a heck of a lot of fun. My position, it's not exactly a coaching position, so my role when I work with these people, mainly the pitchers, is just support however I can, throw with them when they need it, catch for them when they need it, that kind of thing. And they treat me super well. They always take care of us, the bullpen catchers and the other staff members. So I've had only positive experiences with those guys, and very lucky and fortunate to be a part of it.
Can you talk about, of course, having a front row seat in Yankee Stadium during game days?
Sure, yeah, it's really cool. There's like that bench right outside the bullpen there that you can sit on, and all the fans are behind you, and they're all watching the game and getting into it. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, dang, I'm right next to the field here, and I'm kind of, like you said, in the front row seat. It's pretty special, having been a fan myself growing up and gone to some Yankee games at Yankee Stadium. It's never in a million years I think that I would be sitting in the bullpen watching the game from there one day. So it's super cool. Does not fail to blow me away anytime we have a game and the crowd starts going wild and all that. It's super fun to be a part of.
Growing up a Yankees fan, Was Yankees always where you wanted to work at?
Yeah, I mean, so my teams growing up were the Yankees when I was a kid, and then more the Angels after that when I got a little older, just because they're local. I never knew I'd work for a baseball team. It was always my dream to play Major League Baseball, and so playing for any team really would have been great. But I didn't really give a ton of thought to what life would look like after a playing career. So I've just kind of wound up in this spot where I can't believe what's come of it, and it's certainly a dream come true now, even if I never thought about it when I was younger. So super thankful for it.
What's your favorite part about working with the Yankees?
Sheesh, it's too much to count. Um, I think my favorite part is just seeing the behind the scenes stuff and just the day-to-day interactions with the guys and watching how focused they are and the way they go about their processes and whether it's in the weight room or the training room or planning for games and that kind of thing. Like these guys are so dedicated to their craft and they set such a good example. And it's super cool to just be a part of that and see what goes on and learn from them. So I think that whole deal of watching these guys behind the scenes is, for me, that's the coolest part.
What is it like working with the Yankees and being around players like Garrett Cole, Gary Sanchez, and Aaron Judge? Are you more on a personal level, or is it more still a work level after?
Yeah, I think it's a work. Yeah, I think it's a work level. Certainly with the position players. Obviously Aaron Judge, tremendous guy, really total pro. Just that's a phenomenal example. I don't interact with him and the position players quite as much. Just the nature of my role, spend more time with the pitchers. Yeah, even with the pitchers, it's a professional relationship. My job is to do my job, which is assist them however I can. But they're also just cool people. Garrett Cole and all the guys in the bullpen and the other starting pitchers. They're a really good group. It's fun to chat with them and just hang out with them and pick their brains, but also just talk about Netflix series that they like and common interests and things like that too. So it's super fun to be a part of.
What are some of the restrictions that y'all face now?
Just a lot of no indoor dining when you go out to eat somewhere. Always wearing a mask. I think what else, like travel, like you can't have more than a certain amount of people on the bus. You have to have a certain amount of space between people on the plane. Um, Things like that. So the outdoor dining is a big one. That's something that I'm looking forward to is just being able to go to a restaurant with some of my coworkers. So that'll be fun.
When it comes to the travel and being a part of the Yankees, can you talk about, of course, going to different cities, like, of course, going back to Seattle Mariners or going maybe across town to the New York Mets?
Yeah, so we haven't gone to the West Coast yet just because of COVID and them wanting to keep us on the East Coast. We also haven't played the Mets at the Mets. I don't think no, we did go there last year for maybe one or two games, but we haven't played them this year. But yeah, it's great. Traveling is like the most fun part of the job. I mean, just flying to these different places and staying at the hotels and getting to see a new city and see a new stadium. It's really like the coolest thing ever. So yeah, road trips are definitely my favorite part of doing this job.
What is something that you learn now that you didn't know before starting as a ballpen catcher?
Something I learned now that I didn't know before I started. Um, that's a good question. It's hard to break it down to one thing specifically, but I think just kind of on like a human level, I think the thing that I learned is that these players that people aren't really aware of how much how hard they're working and what they're going through and what their lives look like. And I think what I've learned is to, not that I was ever very critical, but I think it's a good lesson for fans in general is just to have a heart a little bit and just know what they're going through and that they don't want to be striking out if they're striking out, or they don't want to be making an error if they made an error. Like it's really kind of lousy to pile on with the the other crap to condemn them for it. I think just understanding that they're working hard like anyone else at their jobs, and they're trying to do their best. So that's what I would say.
What is something that you look forward to accomplishing this season?
Winning a World Series, nothing short of it.
What advice would you give upcoming future professional baseball players and upcoming future people looking to work in professional baseball?
Tough for me to give advice to professional players, having not played pro ball myself. Certainly like professional big league players. I mean, if for younger kids who are looking to go play in college and then hopefully make a professional career about it, I would say that the biggest thing for me is to make sure that you control the controllables when you're on the field. Run hard. Make sure you're mentally always aware of what you need to be doing during that part of the game. Treating your teammates correctly, like that's the kind of stuff that really matters. And then obviously you do those things right, and you have the talent, you're going to go a long way. So that would be, for kids who are looking to make their way up. For people working in baseball, just constantly trying to learn. Like that's something that was instilled in me with the Mariners. They're so always trying to learn about new things and new trends, and maybe it's learn about old things sometimes that worked better, and they're very open-minded in that way. So I think that's a big part of working in baseball today, is thinking on your feet and being ready for new information.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
Let's see. I'm mostly Instagram. I don't really use Twitter much. I haven't been on Facebook in a little while. I think Instagram is probably the best. So it would be at Aaron, AARONN, so 2 N's, and then Barnett, BARNETTT, so 3 T's in Barnett.
Thank you again, Aaron Barnett, for your interview, and best of luck with the New York Yankees as the bullpen catcher.
Yeah, of course, Brandon. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Aaron Barnett, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thanks, Brandon.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.